Hey, what's going on, everybody? Carbide 97 back. I've got a not a review today, but rather a informative tutorial demonstration thing. What you're looking at here is a 2005 Honda Odyssey EX model. This is not the Touring or the EXL. Okay, so it's not going to have the electronic stuff. Anyway, this is for the motor mount replacement. There's a motor mount that goes right down inside of there. And in order to get it out, you have to remove this, which is covered with this, and it sits right down inside here. There are 3 attachments that connect to it, as you can see, 1, 2, 3. These all come out relatively easy. But there's also one down inside of there that hooks to a wiring harness that is not so easy or so fun to get out. It is, let's see if we can get a good shot of it. Where are you, my friend? This thing right here, which sits in there like this. And there used to be right here a little tab that came across here, which basically protected this piece. And there's a clip right here that this hooks onto. You shut this, which I don't think you can do it without this being actually attached to the other side. But you have to pry this open, lift it, and then push this back that way. And then that'll get that out of the way for you to get down into this area to detach, to get a tool down to, get out of the way, down to that hole. And there's actually 3 mounting points here inside the engine compartment that attach to the body. And here's the old engine mount. Zoom back out. You can see these are the 2 that mount down below. And in order to get to this one, that's why you have to take out that unit along with the shroud. You take that out, and then you can fit your wrench with your, I think it's a number 17 millimeter or 15 millimeter, something like that, right down inside there. Not that one, but down below it. You can't really make it out so well, but there it is. Yeah, you can see that right down that way. Now, the reason that I mentioned that this is an EX model and not an EXL is because the rear engine mount and the front engine mount are very different. I think that the way that they mount is pretty much the same, but the mounts themselves are quite different, and the price difference is pretty significant. Now, I just wanted to show you real quick what the old mount looked like. This is the old one. This thing, the car was shaken pretty bad between about 50 miles an hour up to about 65. It was only for like from 50 to 55 and then up to 60, but then as time progressed it got worse and worse, and it was really only over the period of about a month that it got really bad. And you can see this one, all of this stuff, you can see how loose that is. I mean, if I wanted to, I could probably push that right out, but that's not, this is not okay. Let's get a close look to see the range of motion in there. Okay, this thing's supposed to be stiff like a brick. I mean, you consider that an engine is supposed to be able to, you know, sit in that. This is the new one. Okay. That's nice. That's the way it's supposed to look. All right. So I'm going to be putting that down inside there. Any sort of tips? There's a couple other videos on YouTube that you can find instructionally that have, you know, the EXLs and the Touring, the replacement of these, and it's pretty similar. I'm just going to highlight some of the difficulties that I've had. Over here, in order to get out the front engine mount, you need to take out the battery and the box that it sets in, if you still have that. Some people don't even like having that box, but anyway, I took out the air cleaner box also, air filter box, and there's another engine mount down below back there. But one of the recommendations I saw was to take this thing out of the way And the problem with that is that it's held down by 4 bolts. 2 of them are up top here. Those are easy enough to get to. There's one that's down below here that is accessed from underneath the wheel well, and without taking off the air dam is quite tricky to get a hold of. And I mean, it's not impossible. You can get to it. But there's another one that's down below here that is really, it's like right behind the front of the air dam, but really, from looking at it, it looks like you'd have to take off the bumper. So I'm going to leave that on there and see just how hard it is to get that engine mount out. Yeah, I know you can't see it right now, but let's turn on this light and see if we can. There, you can see the top of it. Right there. It's held down by 4 bolts, and then there's a through bolt that goes through the top. So once I get that one off and I get down into it, then we will continue from that point on. But make sure, you know, of course, take all your safety precautions. Make sure that you've got her up on jack stands. You're going to want to keep this wheel off so that you can get to the transmission mount that's underneath there. And then I believe there's another one. The instructions in the Haynes manual says that there's only 4 mounts, but the package that I bought from eBay, this package was $125. Well, let's get it in the frame. This package, it was $125 for all 5 mounts. As far as their quality, how long they'll last, who knows. But really, I mean, as long as I stop punching the gas, they should last a little bit longer than the last ones. I was just really excited to have all the horsepower in here. If you've never driven a Honda Odyssey, they're pretty nice, pretty fast for a minivan. Anyway, I will continue on with whatever progress I make. As a note, before you put this in, and that passenger side mount, make sure that you attach, let's see, I know you can't see it, not just yet, back behind there, down below there, is a bolt that goes into the body. And if you have this, it sits like this on the sides of there. And the bottom of that nut, or the top of that bolt rather, isn't too terribly far from the bottom of this. And so if you have let's see, where'd I put it? If you have a shallow ratchet like this, that's okay. But if you don't have enough extension, just the right length of extension, because what you're going to do is you're going to come in from behind the firewall, down below here, to attach to it down there. You're going to have a swivel on there, of course. But, you know, you don't want it too far up here that when you attach your ratchet, that you're not able to work it here. So, just a note, put this on after you've tightened that bolt, okay? Good job. Alright, if you're ready for your next bit of madness, sorry about that. This is the front engine mount. This came out from right in here. Most of it was pretty easy to get out. Like these 3 bolts were relatively simple. These 2 were super easy to get out. There is a bracket that goes over the top of this. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. This thing sits over the top of this, like that, down inside there. So obviously you want to take that off first. But, whoa, getting to this, oh man, it would be really good if you had a friend to help you do this, to get underneath there and guide your socket down on there, and this is the one where you're gonna want to have a swivel on there. And then in order to get the thing out of the engine compartment, this thing is inside there sitting next to it like that. And so if you want to have any hope of moving that up and out, take that out. Now, to dispel the myth, to get that out, and I don't know, the new one, it might be different because, well, I'll show you here in a second. I did not have to take out the battery tray. That stayed just fine. I managed to work it through here. I had to remove this, some other things in there that had to come out, but whoops, you can't see anything, can you? So anyway, you do not have to take that out. Now, that being said, I do not know the state of the dimensions, the difference between this, because this, the new one does look like this, but see that? That's not supposed to do that. That right there, yeah, uh-oh. That's supposed to be attached. Here, I'll show you. This is the new one. See how that's not broken? That's how it's supposed to be. Oh, and when you take this off, underneath you're gonna have a hydraulic valve or hose attached right there. I just took a pair of pliers and pulled it off, and it didn't do any damage to the hose. It's a pretty heavy duty hose, so you should be okay with that. And then you see that little rubber deal that goes over the top of the old one. The new one didn't come with that, and I think that thing is, sorry about that, I think that this thing is mostly there just to protect it from damage from anything falling on it or anything rubbing against it, any wires or hoses, to protect it and whatever might rub against it during engine vibration. So, 2 down, I got the one installed, 2 or 3 more to go. Stay tuned.